Let's talk about what just happened, because something about this situation is not sitting right with a lot of people. Not legal experts, not media analysts, not viewers, and definitely not anyone following Prince Harry's ongoing legal war with the British tabloid industry. Channel 4's Dispatches aired a documentary that claimed it would shed more light on the accusations Harry and several other high-profile individuals have brought forward. But instead of offering clarity, context, or actual new evidence, the programme managed to do something far more controversial. It reframed an entire lawsuit. It muddied public perception, and it subtly cast doubt on allegations that a High Court judge has already ruled credible enough to go to trial. And here's the twist: it did all of this right before a major pre-trial hearing. Convenient timing? You decide. Let's break it down. Most people think this lawsuit is Harry versus the media. That's how the tabloids want it framed. That's how the documentary framed it. But that's not what the case actually is. The lawsuit involves multiple claimants, including Elton John, Elizabeth Hurley, Sadie Frost, Doreen Lawrence, several lesser-known individuals, and yes, Prince Harry. They all claim that associated newspapers, the publisher of the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday, engaged in illegal information gathering over many years. Not just journalists digging for stories. We're talking about phone hacking, voicemail interception, private investigators tailing people, blagging medical information, accessing financial data, tracking movements, exploiting vulnerabilities and surveillance practices, going far beyond what any ethical newsroom should ever touch. These accusations aren't new. They aren't speculative. They aren't based on emotion. They're grounded in records, logs, testimony and patterns that resemble behaviour already exposed in earlier phone hacking scandals. A judge has already examined the evidence and ruled that the case has substantial merit and should proceed to trial in early 2026. So the courtroom process is already underway. And that's important because everything Dispatches attempted to question is about to be tested by the one place that matters: a court of law. Not a TV documentary, not an edited commentary, not a producer's interpretation. A courtroom. The Dispatches programme marketed itself as a neutral investigation. A balanced, responsible look at what's going on. But from the very beginning, one thing was obvious. This documentary was centered around Harry. Almost completely. Never mind that Elton John is a claimant. Never mind that Elizabeth Hurley says her medical information was pulled. Never mind that Doreen Lawrence, a grieving mother, alleges her privacy was violated during the most traumatic period of her life. The programme barely touched their stories. Why? Because Harry attracts views. Harry polarizes people. Harry is the perfect lightning rod. So instead of explaining the case, instead of exploring the systemic allegations, instead of breaking down why the High Court allowed this lawsuit to move forward, the documentary did this: focused on Harry's motives, highlighted his public reputation, questioned his intent, overemphasized personal narrative, underemphasized collective evidence, ignored broader patterns, and framed the lawsuit as if it rises or falls on his credibility. That is not journalism. That is narrative engineering. Because the moment you turn a systemic issue into a personality issue, the public stops asking, "Did the tabloids do something illegal?" and starts asking, "Do I like Harry?" Exactly what the defendants would prefer. This is where things start to smell off. The Dispatches programme aired. weeks before a key High Court hearing, months before the full trial, during a moment when public narrative could still influence perception and right, as the tabloids were gearing up for a PR battle of their own. Ask any legal analyst. You simply do not see responsible broadcasters drop preemptive documentaries questioning evidence before that evidence is tested in court. It's not normal. It's not standard. It's not responsible. If Dispatches had aired this documentary after the trial, it would have been entirely reasonable. After evidence, after sworn testimony, after cross-examination, after rulings. But airing it now? That's like reviewing a movie based on the poster. Why rush to shape public perception before the judge has spoken? Who benefits? Certainly not the claimants. Certainly not the legal process. Certainly not transparency. The only party that benefits from casting early doubt is the powerful newspaper groups facing allegations. That's why the timing is raising legitimate concerns. Here's the most critical flaw in the entire program. It didn't introduce new evidence. It didn't expose new inconsistencies. It didn't uncover new documentation. Instead, it rehashed old witness retractions, uncertain investigator statements, rumours, disputed memories and speculation that will be addressed at trial anyway. None of this undermined the core allegations. None of it weakened the legal case. None of it disproved anything. But it did create an illusion of weakness, a dangerous illusion. Because when you show enough talking heads saying, well, maybe the evidence isn't as strong as they think, viewers internalize that doubt even if it isn't backed by facts. This is not investigative journalism. This is impression management. Let's be blunt. Media organizations don't like being sued, especially when the lawsuit accuses them of illegal surveillance, especially when multiple claimants span decades of alleged wrongdoing, especially when the allegations line up with patterns already proven in other cases, and especially when the claimant involved is someone the tabloids have spent years trying to discredit. So what's the strategy? Simple. If you can't kill the case in court, discredit it in the court of public opinion. If you can't challenge the evidence yet, challenge the messenger. If you can't shut down the lawsuit, shift public sympathy. If you can't disprove the claims, amplify uncertainty. And who is the easiest person to attach doubt to? Harry. Because the British media has spent almost a decade painting him as emotional, unstable, vengeful, paranoid, dramatic, unreliable. So when you frame the entire lawsuit around him, you create an easy way to dismiss everything else. It's not subtle, it's strategic. This is not a popularity contest. This is not about whether viewers like Harry. This is not about royal drama, Hollywood gossip, or family feuds. This is about journalistic ethics, misuse of power, illegal surveillance, exploitation of victims' privacy violations, and the responsibilities of the press. If even a fraction of the allegations are proven true, it will be one of the most devastating scandals in UK media history. It could reshape how tabloids gather information, how journalists are regulated, how victims are protected, and how much power media corporations really have behind the scenes. Harry is just one name on a list. He is not the case. He is part of the case. And that's what the documentary blurred. The trial is coming in 2026. The evidence will be tested. Witnesses will testify under oath. Judges will scrutinize every document, every phone record, every investigator's log. And here's the part Dispatches didn't want to emphasize. The courts don't care about documentaries. They care about evidence. They've already ruled that the claimants have enough of it to move forward. Everything else, the speculation, the noise, the opinions, is just that. Noise. So whether you like Harry or not, whether you follow royal news or not, whether you think he's right or wrong, remember this. If the allegations are true, the tabloids didn't just invade Harry's privacy. They invaded multiple people's lives. For years, illegally, systematically, and without accountability. That's the story. That's what's at stake. And that's what the documentary failed to tell you. This fight isn't about headlines. It's about truth. And the truth is headed to court, where no amount of pre-trial documentaries can rewrite it.